Hi folks, Ross here from Blackbeard's Detailing, and this is a video all about Gtechniq Crystal Serum Light. Now, what is Gtechniq Crystal Serum Light? It's a prosumer version of Gtechniq Crystal Serum Ultra. It's much easier to apply than the Ultra coating is, and if it's installed by an accredited detailer, it comes with a 5-year guarantee. On your paintwork, it provides chemical resistance from pH 2 to pH 12, temperature resistance from -40 degrees centigrade to plus 240 degrees centigrade. So if your car's in the baking hot sun of Scotland, which very rarely happens, or -40 degrees, which sometimes it feels like, the coating is still doing its job and still protecting your paintwork. Its main goal is to act as a sacrificial layer to your lacquer. It's not a magic potion that when it's on, it's scratch resistance, stone chip resistance, anything like that. There's a lot of claims with coatings going out. It goes for every single brand, including Gtechniq. They are not scratch resistant and they're not stone chip resistant. It's not a magic potion that's going to protect your paint from those things. It can still get stone chipped and can still get scratched. The main benefit is when something like that does happen, the coating is harder than your lacquer is, so the coating is going to take more of the brunt than the lacquer, which makes it easier to repair. Something that might be a glancing blow from a tree as you pass by it, and a car that's uncoated versus a car that's coated, the coating might be the difference of that scoring through the paint permanently versus not permanently, but it can still be damaged and it can still go through your lacquer and damage your lacquer. The other benefit is the bird poos, things like that. Again, chemical resistance from pH 2 to pH 12. Bird poos, horribly acidic, they can etch through your paint. It still needs to be cleaned off your ceramic coated car as soon as possible because it still can damage it. But what it won't do, if applied correctly, is get through that coating and damage your lacquer underneath. Gtechniq will cover the cost of bird poo damage. The cars should come back into an accredited detailer and be sorted for you. So the rest of this video is basically all about how we apply the coating and how you should care for your car after it's been coated. If you're considering Crystal Serum Light, there's a couple of things you should think of. A, how long you're planning keeping your car for. It's guaranteed for 5 years. If you're planning keeping your car long term, then consider a Gtechniq Crystal Serum Ultra. If the desired effect that you want is all these super wee beads all over the car, this is probably not the coating. This is designed more to sheet the water than to bead. Now that's got its benefits. If you really don't want to dry your car after every time it's been washed, you can use a bare hose on it and the water should just sheet away, making drying so much easier because there'll just be a couple of wee patches. But if you want these desired little beads, then we can still use Crystal Serum Light and then overcoat it with Gtechniq XO or Gtechniq Ceramic Sealant, which is an incredibly easy product to use, which you can top up at home as well. So next up, we'll go into application, how we install the coating. Okay, so we're moving on to the application stage. So you've got applicator pads. This is the type of pad which is supplied with the coating itself. Nothing wrong with this, but we prefer using these. They're just easier to grip. There's a bit more to them, and I find the contour around the edges a good bit easier. And yeah, that is our preferred pad. That's a Gtechniq AP5 pad. You get a pack of 6 of them for not a lot of money. I think they're under a tenner for 6 of them. Lovely soft, they're not going to cause any marring, anything like that. And it's quite rigid foam that's inside it, so it does contour really well around the edges. Again, there's absolutely nothing at all wrong with using the pad that's supplied. You just slip your fingers inside the wee nook in there, move them along. Personal preference, I just prefer using these. I think there's a bit more control in holding the pad a bit easier. It's also supplied with a pipette. So glass pipette, there is no measurement marks on them. We tend to ditch these and use our own pipettes. They are marked. Again, you can get a pack of like 500 of these for 20 quid, which last donkeys. So they are marked. Half a mil, 1 mil, 1.5, etc., all the way up. That's a 30 ml bottle. So we divide up the sections of the car that we'll be doing. It's how we know we're going to have enough coating. So With that, I've calculated that as 26 sections of 2 foot by 2 foot. Again, we do coatings all the time. We know how much coating a car will need. So you can get 50ml bottles, or you can get the 30ml bottles. And we aim for 1ml per section, which is more than enough. You see a lot of people online going, "Oh, there's no way you can do a full car with that bottle." Yes, you can. Ceramic coatings are not waxes. They're not polymer sealants. It's a completely different kettle of fish, and they're designed not to be absolutely soaked on the panel. And last up, a set of gloves. You'll get gloves again included in the pack. Again, we ditch them. They tend to be a bit baggy because obviously they're one size fits all. Even though I've got quite big hands, I like the gloves to be more fitted to my hand. I just think it gives better control. It feels as if it's your actual hand then, instead of having a big kind of a big bit of rubber to spare in your hand. So again, that's complete personal preference. So first thing we're going to do is check our pad, make sure there's nothing on it. This is brand spanking new, straight out the packet. So check that, make sure it's all good. Have a wee look at the panel. Again, work surface you're working on. All this has been panel wiped the same time as the car was done, so there's no contamination on this. There's no polishing dust, there's no polishing oils, nothing on this. So we can put our work products down here, safe in the knowledge that there is nothing on this surface that is going to cause any issues. It's spotlessly clean. So take our bottle, gentle shake, and then that's it. We will open it. And then again, just for my OCD, I just like to get rid of this wee black bit on it. Again, I don't know why, I just always like to ditch that, and then it's just a nice wee bottle that's sat there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prime our pad. So that's so when we put our first 1ml on it, it's not going to soak into the fibres, and then the section that's going onto the car is getting less coating, if that makes sense. So we want our pad to be primed, covered in coating, before we put the coating on that's going to go on the car. So we will take our pipette. So that, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, it might be a bit difficult, but that's up to there, which is the 2ml mark. So I'm going to do a big snake the full way up, and then one right up the middle, and then that's leaving a mil. So that's that, you can see the coating that's going, you can see it where the snake is, it's soaking in already. So that's just a mil, 1ml, and then squeeze the pad together, fold it, and then give it a good rub. And then we've got coating all over that pad. You can see the big wet patch on it. And then we use the rest of our mil, and you can put it on in drops or squeeze it like the big snake again. Pop that in your bottle holder so it doesn't fall over, and then that's us all ready to coat the first panel on the Audi. Okay, so Audi all prepped, all ready to rock. If you're working in a dusty environment, make sure you have an air compressor. You can give the panel a blast to make sure there's no dust or debris on the panel before you start coating it. So we'll be focusing on this front wing that goes down there, up to there, and along. That, if you folded all that up or pulled that off and then tore it into pieces, is approximately going to be 2 foot by 2 foot. That's what we're looking for. So this full section, this full wing, is pretty much our perfect working area, which we want to apply the coating on. We've got lovely warm temperature in here of 19 degrees, which is spot on for coating. So what we like to do is go right round the outside edge, and then fill in the blanks. So left to right, over the badge, with Crystal Serum Light. Don't worry about getting it on your plastics, that's a good thing. So left to right, and then we finish it with an up and down. So this was a wee tip. Again, been applying coatings for years, and this was a tip which I got when I'm done training at Gtechniq, and it's you always want that last wipe with the coating to be in the direction you would want the water to travel on. So eventually when the coating does get towards the end of its life, it's not failing in lengthways, it's failing in up and down motions, so you've still got a degree of water sheeting on there, even when the coating gets to the end of its life in years' time. So that is coating's on there. What we're looking to do now is wait till we get what we call flashing off. So relatively high humidity today. We've got a temperature and humidity meter in here, so we're 65% humidity and just about 19 degrees. So this is going to cure on this panel really quickly because of the humidity and the temperature. So we don't want to put it on and wipe it off right away, the Crystal Serum Light. We want to get it on and wait till you start to see it almost separating. We call this flashing off. So when it goes into what's like wee lines and little water droplets, I'm going to try and pick this up on the camera. It might be a little bit footery, but give us a wee second and we'll see if we can pick this up. So you can see it's going into little lines and almost separating. That is perfect to come off. Crystal Serum Light is very, very user friendly. If you do happen to leave it on the panel for too long, it's no huge thing at all. You just buff it off, same as normal. It's not going to cause any kind of huge issues. So taking off brand new, fresh microfiber cloths, and the initial, excuse me, the initial wipe, you've got two sides to the cloth. You've got the big plush side and the short pile side. Initial wipe, short pile side, and start off from the outside. And work your way in. And then flip to a bit of the cloth which is fresh, around the badges. And that's our coating. We call this levelled off. So that's it, levelled off the panel. We then switch to another brand new microfiber, and we're using the nice plush side this time. And this time we're starting from the outside, working in again, but we're not focusing on the panel we've just done. We're going to start off here on a panel which hasn't been coated and work our way in from the edges. And the reason we do that is to make sure we don't get what's called high spots. So when we're putting the coating on, the applicator pad will probably go onto the other panel, the panel just next to it, up onto the bonnet, up onto this front door. So we start from outside and work in with the first cloth, and then the second cloth, we're going way beyond the section which has been coated, and this is how you prevent what we call high spots. So it's a section of ceramic coating which has been missed. And the reason why that's a bad thing is it leaves what looks like an oily line in the paintwork. Again, with Crystal Serum Light, it's not a huge disaster. We can polish that off. You don't want to be doing that because A, it's time wasted, it's product wasted, because after that section has been polished, you're going to need to redo that section. So you're losing time, you're wasting product, and it's just unprofessional. If you're applying a coating, you want to make sure that you're doing it properly, you're doing it correctly. So we make sure all this section has been thoroughly done before we move on. We've got great lighting in here. These hex lights are fantastic for checking to make sure that there's nothing that's been missed. This wee bit here is a wee dark corner. So after that section has been done, grab one of our many, many inspection lamps and just check the panel. And I'm starting off in the section which hasn't been coated to make sure I don't have any streaky marks of coating that's been pushed onto the other panel whilst they've been taking it off or applying it. And then that's us. Good tip is always check around your badges, because you can get a wee pool of coating in like the sections, and then when you're giving it its wipe over, you might lift some of that coating out and smear it along, and then you think you've done that panel, and then when you go back you realise there's like a streaky line over there of coating which has been pushed from the badge, and then you need to buff that off. So that panel all done, happy with that, so we're going to move on to the next panel. Okay folks, so next up we have a larger panel, the door. So what we would normally do is split it where this ridge line is, you can see along there, so there, and then split it right down the middle. So we have a section at the top and the section split down the middle. We're still working on what would be 2 foot sections, and then I'll show you with the trusty measuring tape. So we have this full bit here, which is 43 inches long and about 7 inches wide. So that roughly, probably well under the 2 foot mark on there. And then on there we have, so halfway at the door we are about 21 inches, and full way down the bottom we're 27 inches. So that again is working out at 2 foot, which is the golden application area. So larger panels, focus on getting all the coating on. It's fine if you overlap. We want a slight overlap, which means if anything is missed during the application, which if you're doing this professionally, it shouldn't be. You should have your technique well down. And it's the exact same application. So start off on the outside, and again you can see I'm doing a little, there's a wee, that's hanging over the edge there, but I'm maybe hanging down from that about 1 inch. We go around and then fill in the blanks. A big left to right, and then top of the door handle, and then get this down into the recess in the handle, and then underneath the door handle. And then the tip from earlier on, we're always wanting to finish in the direction we would want the water to travel in. So, and then a wee slight overlap onto the next panel. So that again, we'll just like to leave it for a couple of minutes till we see that separation which we've seen on the front wing. Again, this panel is right facing the infrared heaters, so this is going to cure really quickly, and I can see it starting to separate already and starting to go that wee dotty way. So at that point, that's us all good to go, good to take it off. So exact same as we've done with the wing. So get into everything with our first cloth, and then switch it round. And then make sure when you're doing the trims at the top as well, you fold the cloth right over the trim so you're not missing any coating that's up there. Because again, even on trim, it's going to be really noticeable. So door handle, and then pop our microfiber down in there. Give it a good left to right, then up and down. And then onto our second cloth. And then just exactly the same as did with the first cloth, only you're going over a right good few inches to make sure you haven't pushed anything onto the next panel. Make sure you push your cloth into the recess and any handles. And then there we go. That's my light flashing, telling me it's at 20% battery. So that section's done, so we're going to do this bit of the door and then that bit of the door. When you're working with coatings and you overlap a section, you might get a line which looks darker than the rest of it. So this wee section which it overlapped by about an inch, when that coating goes on and then we wipe it off, you might get a darker line on it. Do not worry about that, do not rub away at it. As long as that coating has been levelled off, that line will fade away and disappear as the coating cures. So don't be tempted to keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing at it. It's completely normal. It's just the coating being applied on top of coating which is flash cured onto that panel. It's entirely nothing to worry about. So you can already see the section which the coating has been applied to is separating rapidly. Again, that's probably due to the heat from the infrared heaters, but that's fine. We ignore that section, that's all good. We're focusing on the section which we have just, sorry, you just see the top of my head there, which we've just applied. So we're keeping an eye on that. Again, it's not going to be too long because this is getting basted by the heaters. Round the other side maybe a bit different because that's not in direct contact, but we can already see that's all starting to separate and going into the wee lines, the wee balls. So we'll just, again, wiping all that coating off. And depending on your workshop, make sure if you're working in a wee dark spot, which this side is because it's right next to the cabinets, we've got good lighting on there. And that's wiping off absolutely effortlessly. And then, again, overlapping by a right good few inches, even onto the panel we're about to do, because what we don't want is for kind of cured sections on there which haven't been wiped off or levelled before we apply the coating for that panel. And then that is us. And I can see from the light which was over my head, checking all over that panel, even down there in all these wee sections, that there is no coating left there to be taken off. And then lastly, we'll go into this bit. So notice on that side I done a big line and just done the outline. You can do a big cross, which are done there, which is just distributing the coating evenly along that section. And then all we're doing is filling the blanks left to right and then up and down. And if you do it in that cross-hatch manner, you know that you're not going to be missing out anything. It's another reason why I quite like these cloths, or sorry, these applicator pads, because they're rectangular and you can do it in nice lines. So again, where the coating has been applied, we're overlapping. Sorry, I'm again conscious you're not seeing my face. We're overlapping by a few inches to make sure that there's no section. So if you try and go right, this is the exact bit here, put the coating and stop just there and go right, that's the exact bit there to there, there might be a line that you're missing. So always overlap by a couple of inches. Again, 30ml bottle on this is more than enough to do this Audi Q5, which is a reasonably large car. So you've got plenty of coating, use it all, use a full bottle on the car. And the good thing about that bottle is it's clear, so you can see how much coating you've got. And as long as you've got a wee measured pipette, which they're cheap as chips, so if you're going to do this to your own car, you can buy wee packs of 5 for a couple of quid. So if you do that, you're using a measured pipette, and as long as you're putting in that mil every time and you've got your panels counted out, you know that you're never going to run out of coating. And again with this, we're doing it professionally. We're wanting to use up all that bottle of coating on that customer's car. What normally happens is you're left with just a wee dribble in the bottom of the bottle, and we normally use that to prime the pad for the next one which is getting coated. It says it's normally maybe half a mil or so that's left. And again, just a nice wipe. And the panel feels lovely and slick. You'll notice it as well when you're doing, if you're doing this on your own car, you pick this section and you run over the section that's coated and then go onto the bit that's not coated, you'll feel right away the cloth grabbing, and you want that beautiful slickness. So when you know the coating has bonded to the paintwork, and that's all your prep work. That's your polishing, so your decon, your polishing phase, and then arguably the most important part of applying the coatings is your panel wipe phase. It has to be on point. You have to make sure you've got all those polishing oils. The panels are thoroughly degreased, and all that's there is bare lacquer that's given that coating that fantastic surface to bond and to cure onto. So that is us tackled a large panel, and then we just systematically make our way around the car. Again, I'm aware this car is lifted. It's much easier for us to do here opposed to if you're doing it in your driveway. Just get yourself a kneeling pad that you can sit down or kneel on and just take your time with it. The application of the coating, this coating is not difficult. It's very user friendly, and we will show you on another car what to do if it goes wrong and you do get a high spot. We're going to deliberately high spot a car, and we will get we'll do it on one of our own cars, not a customer car, and we'll show you how you can get that high spot off your panel and then recoat it. Okay folks, so that's your car all coated. What do you do now? Well, going forward, basic safe washing. I would always recommend a ceramic coated car using Gtechniq Ceramic G-Wash to wash the car. There will be a safe wash guide posted up very shortly onto the channel, as well as that video I pointed out earlier on with if you do get a high spot. We've got one of the staff cars which we can use for that. We wouldn't use a customer's car, so we're going to use a staff car for that. So we'll get that filmed. That'll be a very quick video explaining how to remove a high spot if you do get one on it. Also might be asking, why am I doing this video when we install the coatings on the cars? Should we bring the car to us? Not everybody can afford to have a detailer do their car. This coating is very simple, very easy to use. So if you're watching this video, you've obviously got an interest in your car, your van, your motorbike, whatever, and you're just wanting to get it protected, I would rather you have the tools to do it properly. It gives faith in the product. You're not doing it incorrectly and then it fails and then complaining that, oh, coating's rubbish, it didn't actually do anything. Coatings are fantastic, they work well, as long as you know that they're not that magic potion that I talked about earlier on. So, you've got a curing period after it's done. We generally tell the customer in our kind of Scottish climate to leave the car for 5 days before you do anything to it. The only exception to that is if you get a bird poo on it. If you get a big horrible bird poo, then just blast it off with the pressure washer. This has been overcoated with EXO, as I spoke about yesterday, so the surface is extremely slick. It's important we get that off, because if it etches into the bodywork, it will leave the mark on there. It would still get sorted under the guarantee, but whilst it's in its initial curing phase, we want to get that blasted off. It's fully weather cured. Whatever the weather wants to throw at it is entirely fine. But it's just if you're putting chemicals on, like if you're washing the car and spraying wheel cleaner, things like that on it, it can leave wee etch marks on the coating. So that's what we want to try and avoid. After that 4 or 5 day mark, that's fine. Wash the car away to your heart's content. So hopefully that's helped some of you out. If there's any questions, leave a wee question in the comments and I'll get back to you. And yeah, but as you can see, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's all in the prep work. Get your car looking the way you want through polishing. Make sure that you panel wipe every single section that's going to get coated and you do it properly. Must just use a full bottle of panel wipe on your car. If it's your own car, just buy a 250ml bottle and that's more than enough to do this size of car. Make sure you use it all, get into all the wee nooks and crannies, and then after that, that's your car's going to be prepped properly to get the coating on. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, drop us a wee comment, hit us a wee like, and consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you very much for watching. Cheerio, bye.